the context also. But let's look at it in context as we move forward. But first, let's start with the meaning. Tava Katha Amrutam. Your Katha is like nectar. And what is the nature of this nectar? Normally, nectar is in some context. Okay, nectar is for what? Person is dying, there is they say, but nectar. They're always seeking somras. So, what kind of nectar is this? In fact, the whole verse is a description of the kind of nectar this is. This is Tapta Jeevanam, that our life is worthy. Now we look at how verses in scripture can also be understood at multiple levels. But in the specific context, it is the gopis are burning from the fire of separation from Krishna, the Jeevanam. And when we are separated, it is talking about you that is consoling us, that is keeping us alive. There is nectar. And then Kavibhir Ividitam, that this is transmitted by the Kavi, the wise people. Knowing its potency, this is very carefully preserved and passed on by the great sages, the wise people. Kalmasha, Apaha is to destroy. Kalmasha is the impurities in the heart. This destroys the kalmashas in the heart. The Bhagavad Krishna says, Kupastwa Kashmalamidam. So Kashmala, Kalmasha, a similar word. That darkness, that impurity, they're destroyed by it. And Shravana Mangalam. So later on, the gopis will use the word Mangala again in Dhanama. Yes, that's the next verse only. Dhanama Mangala. So here it is Shravana Mangala. So Krishna is Sarva Mangala. Hearing about him is Mangala. Hearing is also Mangala. Hearing this is Shravana Mangala. And then Shrimad Art. Shri, Shri can, Shri can mean power. So Shrimad Artam means it is filled with fortunate or auspicious power. Shrimad Artam. And Bhuvi Granatije, that those who go around the earth, Bhuvi Granatije, speaking about your pastimes, your katha, Bhukurita Janaha, they are they are very great. Bhuri is good. Bhurita is those who are doers of good. They are the well-wishers, they're the benefactors, those people. So this verse at one level seems to be a glorification of the saintly people who are speaking about Krishna. And of course it is. Now, in the context, what are the gopis doing? Actually, is that sometimes we glorify Krishna, that pleases Krishna. But if you glorify Krishna as devotees, that pleases Krishna. So, in one sense, it is this one, each verse is composed by one gopi. So this gopi is on one level glorifying the saintly devotees of Krishna and hoping that that glorification will please Krishna and inspire Krishna to come back. But other level, this gopi is glorifying the other gopis. When they are separate from Krishna, they're also talking about Krishna. And while Bhuri can refer to the earth, Bhuri Grananti Bhuri Dajana. So Bhuri Grananti, those who go around the earth speaking about Krishna. So this can also refer to the Bhuri can refer to Vrindavan. The gopis are running around Vrindavan, they're searching for Krishna. While they're searching, they're also talking about Krishna. And they're talking, so the gopi is glorifying other gopis and saying that these are great souls. It is they who are sustaining our life. And that way the gopis are conveying to Krishna and there is no competition or jealousy among them. They are appreciating glorify each other. So we'll discuss more about this. Let me recite this once. अमृतं तप्त जीवनम् जीवनं कल्मषापहम् श्रीमदाततम् श्रीमदाततम् विगृह्णन्ति जना जना अमृतं तप्त जीवनम् कविभिरीतं शापहम् श्रवण श्रीमदाततम् जना So that's when we want to understand verses. Say, understand a verse. There are many different ways we can look at a verse. One is in context, and another is beyond the context. That means verses also have universal meanings. And there is a particular way of understanding the verse, which often leads to misunderstanding. That is against the context. So now, beyond, sometimes some people say that, oh, the politicians often make some irresponsible statement and say, they quoted me out of the context. You know, and out of the context means you take one statement and that seems to make that person seem to be in a particular way. But if you read the full passage, okay, that person will say something completely different. So in scripture, when we are saying, when we are trying to understand what scripture says, so there is a take which can be out of the context. So now, often scripture has multiple levels of production. So when we look at any verse, we can look at the verse in the context. Okay, this verse came before this verse came after this verse. And then what does this mean? So that's the normal way to understand a verse. And that's how we normally understand conversations also. That generally, if the sentence is to be understood, we read what was the person saying before this, what was the person saying after that. Otherwise, sometimes like some speakers are not very systematic in their presentation. Then what happens is they may speak many points, but if you don't get the flow, okay, why are you telling this point? Sometimes some speakers are very humorous. They tell jokes, but sometimes their jokes are so memorable that the point for which the joke was said is forgotten. The jokes were very nice. Now, humor is excellent to have. If somebody has a gift of humor, then that's a gift. It needs to be used. It's a big asset. But the humor should not overshadow the point. So it's like, in one sense, when there is understanding, there is a point, and then there is the point of the point. Means, why are you making this point? So, point of the point is basically look at things in context. Okay, you're giving this example. What is an example for? Now, sometimes some points may actually, like in a negative sense, if you can say just look at the point in isolation. If you look at the point in isolation. Now, in a negative sense, it could be just, it can become a little frivolous. Suppose somebody remembers some humor. But in a positive sense, somebody might speak like a very quotable point. Sometimes a statement is like a quotable point. And we have Prabhupada or spiritual masters, senior devotees. We have their quotes to circle to social media or something like that. Suppose somebody in a class gives a nice quote explaining what is humility. Now we may forget in what context they're talking about humility, but still that quote has value. So it could be memorable in terms of a example. It's a quote. So now sometimes it is also helpful to look at a quote in context. But when something becomes a quotable quote, means it has value independent of, even if we don't know the context, still the wisdom is so good in it that we want to hear it, we want to know about it. So when we study verses, we can look at the verses in context. And then some verses can be seen beyond the context also. For example, now in point 62, 63, the Gita. Do you know what is this verse? Daito Vishayan Pumsa. What is the second line? Sangas Teshu Pajayate. Now, in this context, what does Sangha mean? Attachment. Attachment, Dhayato Vishayan Pumsa. So we contemplate something. Sangas Teshu Pajayate. It's like I look at something, hey, it's nice. And then Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Kama means it's not just that I like it, that's nice. I want it. So it's nice is more like an emotion. That's appreciation. That's nice. But it's I want it. And then the Kama Krodho Vijayate, when it goes down, it is like, who can stop me from getting it? So it's that's when karma starts. The desire itself is not always a bad thing. Desire is normal at one level. But a desire that rages against boundaries, desire that presents and rejects boundaries, it is where desire starts becoming destructive. Kama, so now we know the sequence very well. But in the Shamrat, Prabhupada quotes this verse, the same verse he quotes, and he uses Sangha to refer to association. And he says, not this one, sorry, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So next verse it is Sangat Sanjayate Kama. And Prabhupada says over here that association desire develops. Prabhupada uses this in a positive sense also. That when we associate with devotees, our desire for devotion increases. So now is this meaning in context? In association desires develop? Not exactly. It is not in context, but this is wisdom beyond the context. Mhm. So Krishna is saying one thing, but sometimes one statement can have multiple meanings also. The point is that when there is wisdom in scripture, see, there are some verses which can be quoted as standalone verses, even if you don't know the context. Like from Pushpa, for example, it talks about how Krishna is so eager for devotion that even simple heart with simple offerings can satisfy Krishna. Now, in the context, what is that verse meaning? We can look at it in the context. But some verses have wisdom beyond the context. But this verse is one such verse. Its wisdom goes far beyond the context. It's a glorification of Krishna Katha. And the whole Bhagavad, in one sense, is filled with such glorification. Because in the Bhagavatam, if you consider Krishna, he manifests Krishna manifests primarily as Krishna Katha. That is the primary manifestation of Krishna. If you see, for Parikshit Maharaj, Krishna came initially in his mother's womb and saved him when he was about to die. So that Krishna who saved him when he was not even born, why did that Krishna not save him from Shringi's curse? Now, in one sense, you could say the situations are similar. If you see Parikshit Maharaj's life, at his birth, at his death, in both places, you see Brahmanas were involved, isn't it? Who was the Brahmana at birth? Ashwatthama. And that Ashwatthama, he sent a weapon, and that weapon was meant to kill him. It was attacked by a Brahmana. And who was the Brahmana at the end of his life? And that Brahmana also sent the attack. That attack was in the form of a curse. Takshaka. So now, relatively speaking, you could say that the Brahmastra is actually much stronger than a Takshaka altogether. In the cosmic hierarchy, Brahmastra is the highest among all weapons. Sometimes Brahmastra is considered to be the Astra of Brahma. It's not the Astra of Brahma. It is the Astra associated with Brahman. It's the greatest weapon. Brahmaji rarely fights. Among the Devtas, Brahmaji is most Brahmanical. So the Devtas are like Akshatriyas. They keep fighting. Now, so Brahmaji, on very few occasions, sometimes he may fight, but most often he doesn't fight. So Brahmastra is not just an astra, the right from the nomenclature is also associated with Brahman. That means it Brahma means not the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma means the greatest reality. That's one of the etymological meanings of Brahma, that which extends over everywhere. That is the greatest. So the point is the Brahmastra is the most powerful astra. And as compared to that, Takshak is not that powerful. It's just one being. So here, this was more powerful. And relatively speaking, this was less powerful. And we could say that Krishna protected Parikshit from something which was more powerful, and yet that Parikshit was killed by something less powerful. So why did Krishna not come to protect Parikshit? Well, Krishna did come. Krishna came in the Krishna Katha. And Krishna came in the form of Krishna Katha and he protected Parikshit Maharaj in the sense that hearing Krishna Katha, Parikshit Maharaj was completely absorbed in the remembrance of Krishna. And that's why when Dakshak came and bit him, Parikshit Maharaj's consciousness was already with Krishna. The soul was already on the journey to Krishna. And just what Dakshak bit was just like an empty shell of a body. So he was protected, no doubt. But the overall theme was that so here there is protection by Krishna. Here there is protection by Krishna Katha. So his consciousness was absorbed in Krishna and he attained Krishna. Not the protection was lacking. So Bhagavatam's overall emphasis is a glorification of Krishna Katha. That it is not that in this Kali Yuga, dark influence of Kali is going to be there. We can't stop Kali from progress. We can protect ourselves and we can protect as many people as possible. So Puranarka Adnoditaha. So the glorification of Krishna Katha is consistent in the Bhagavatam. Wherever there are verses glorifying Krishna Katha, in every canto, in almost every samvad, every conversation, repeatedly. No other theme in the Bhagavatam has as much mention glorification as Krishna Katha. Bhagavad Katha, the word Krishna Katha is not used. So, and it is quite apt. theme which is there throughout the Bhagavad comes in the summit of Bhagavad. So this Gopi Geet is considered to be the highest level of the Bhagavad. The whole Bhagavatam, if you see, if the Mahabharata is here in Purna timeline, the Bhagavatam begins more or less where the Mahabharata ends. Hmm. This is basically the first entry of Krishna. The Bhagavatam is after the Mahabharata war is over, and the Krishna and Arjuna chasing Ashwatthama. And then so the idea is Bhagavatam begins in the shadow of Mahabharata war. And overall, it is the mood of Krishna has just departed from the world. Everybody is learn how to live in the world after Krishna's departure. The whole mood of Bhagavatam is how to experience Krishna in separation from Krishna. That's not the key mood of the Bhagavatam. So experience Krishna in, in the absence of Krishna or in separation from Krishna. You want to share this with Prabhu? Sure. So it's separation from Krishna. That's is there for the Gopi. And Gopis are literally separated from Krishna. Here it is going to happen. But after the 40th chapter and the 10th canto, when Krishna departs, the Gopis are again going to be separated, almost lifelong from Krishna. So Gopis, they are finding solace. So at one level, in the broader system of Bhagavatam, broader structure of the Bhagavatam, it's apt that this glorification of the comes in its summit also. So this is a key of the Bhagavatam, and it's something very important for us because for us, we experience Krishna primarily through Krishna. So yes, we do a lot of service, and it's important, no doubt. We may do festivals, we organize Rath Yatra, we may build temples, we may distribute books. All these are important. And at the same time, without a culture of hearing, all these will, over a period of time, start becoming or seeming mundane to us. It is the remembrance of Krishna comes primarily by Shravan and Kirtan. And even among Shravan and Kirtan, if you do japa regularly, and it's vital that we do japa, but when we are doing our japa, we're doing a chanting of the holy names, we won't be able to remember Krishna by chanting if we are not hearing about Krishna. So, unless of course we are already so advanced that Krishna is already filling our consciousness, then the chanting will evoke the remembrance. It's important. We all may experience in general that if we go to class and after that we try to chant, and chanting will be much better. If we're not hearing regularly, chanting, it just becomes mechanical because the chanting is not really connected to Krishna. If we already have great love for Krishna, then just the name of Krishna will remind us of him and chanting will be very relishable. We don't have that. If our consciousness is still caught in the world quite a bit, then we need to update our consciousness. So hearing is a very way to experience Krishna. And having a culture of hearing is important. And of course, one of the best ways to hear is to also learn to speak. Because when we speak, the Shravan will lead to Kirtan. It should lead to Kirtan. But Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all things happening, that's the most powerful. So here, that's the application of this for us. That we all can experience Krishna in his absence through, through hearing, through especially hearing. So now for the gopis in context. So before we go to let's look at some of the points in this verse, what is being talked about? Vakathamrita Jivanam. So, Jivanam. Again, you can look at it in context and beyond context. For the gopis, it is separation from Krishna. That is why the Jivan is tap. For us, it is a separation from Krishna. Certainly, we are all burning in some fire, but it is samsara davanal. It is not viraha davanal, isn't it? It is. It's the separation in the fire of material existence. The fire of existence basically has two parts to it. It is distresses, various distresses come upon us. But beyond that, desires themselves are like a fire. So these are Trivida Tapa. That is there, the distresses are there. But beyond those Trivida Tapa, it is the desires that are burning us from within. There is Kama, there is Lopa, there is Krodha. So this is, for us, it is a samsara dava. Now, to the extent we experience this, for the gopis, it is viraha dava. Viraha is a separation. Now, when they are experiencing this, at this point, uh, whatever way we are experiencing this, when we are very distressed, we are agitated, but we come and hear Krishna Katha, we experience some relief, some calmness, some out of our circumstances to a higher level of reality. So it is the Amrit that is being showered. So, Kavi Biri, Srila Prabhupada's great legacy is not just that he wrote the Bhagavad Gita, that was a monumental effort. But Prabhupada's great legacy is that Prabhupada, legacy of the recitation of the Bhagavad. Prabhupada, in the first canto, when Prabhupada was translating, we have this first canto, second chapter, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Now, Prabhupada translates that by daily attendance at Bhagavatam class. At that time, there was no ISKCON, there was no Bhagavatam class happening also. When I checked with some of the devotees who are well known in Gaudiya history, I asked, whether in Gaudiya Math they had a tradition of a daily Bhagavatam class. Not much really. Sometimes they would have, especially if they would have some visit sannyasi or something like that. And if you see, when did Prabhupada write the first canto? It was 1962. In fact, Prabhupada wrote the first canto in 3 volumes, parts, and he got each of them published. And when that was published, then he felt, now I'm ready to travel. So, but first canto, second chapter, Prabhupada must have written 1962 probably. That, or maybe he wrote it before that, 1962, since he got published. So Prabhupada was basically like unknown sannyasi at that time. Mhm. Even then he had this vision of having this daily class, daily hearing. So Kavibhiritam. Kavibhiritam means that this is passed down, this is transmitted by sages. So for all of us, the legacy is extremely important. When you talk about the book Bhagavad and the person Bhagavad, sometimes think of the person Bhagavad as a pure devotee. And yes, there are pure devotees. But you could think another way as there is the written tradition and then there is the oral tradition. Throughout history, spiritual wisdom has primarily been conveyed through the oral tradition. Mm. Before 300, 400 years, once before the printing press came about, books were also not very easily available. And it was primarily oral tradition that conveyed knowledge. Books in the past were extremely rare. Books were written by scholars for scholars. Ordinary people would have great difficulty in getting a book and for reading it. So the oral tradition that continued the tradition of bhakti, the wisdom of spirituality in general. And so Kavi Bhiri Vitam. So it is Prabhupada came for the first time to Prabhupada went to America in 1965, started ISKCON in 1966. Then, around 1967, Prabhupada traveled for the first time from New York to San Francisco. He went. That was the first time Prabhupada took a flight. Before that, he'd gone by ship. So when he went there, he told the devotees in New York, "Hey, Prabhupada, you have these weekly classes. Prabhupada do three classes a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. And Sunday would be the Sunday office program." I said, "Prabhupada, what should we do when you're not here?" He said that, "Prabhupada, we have got some of your recordings. Can you play that?" Prabhupada said, "No." Prabhupada said, "You have to speak." And these were just devotees who were 1 year old, 2 year old. They were very new in bhakti. They knew nothing, practically nothing. But Prabhupada told, "You speak." From that time itself, Prabhupada created that tradition of having to speak. So sometimes we may feel, okay, this I can hear from my spiritual master, I can hear from Prabhupada, and their purity is much more than the purity of the speakers who are speaking. That's true, of course. But the point is that there is purity, which is important, but there is also relatability. Relatability means when somebody from among us, from our community, somebody who is, say, from our generation, who speaks our language, who has our life experiences, they speak, and spiritual wisdom becomes relatable. So we distribute Bhagavad Gita, and it's important to distribute Bhagavad Gita. But unless we follow the distribution of Bhagavad Gita with some some kind of opportunity for people to study the Bhagavad Gita in association, it's very rare cases that people by reading the Bhagavad Gita itself can start practice. There are no doubt, but they are rare. So there are, of course, quotes of Prabhupada on the other side where Prabhupada said, "What is your 2 minutes preaching going to do? It's better that you distribute a book." That's true. But there, Prabhupada is comparing it with the 2 minute. Prabhupada is not comparing it with a regular tradition of daily classes or a regular classes of whatever kind. So, this is the oral tradition. Each one of us has an opportunity to be a part of the tradition, be a part of the tradition in terms of we can be a part in terms of speaking also. We may have a small group, we may have a big group, we may have extraordinary speaking ability, we may have not somewhat mediocre speaking ability. But each of us can try to be a part of this oral tradition. Kavi Piri, what we have got, we transmit it. Transmit to one people, 10 people, 100 people. So it's wonderful that here, it's not just the preacher, but there's so many other devotees also who are taking up responsibility and preaching. This is Kavi Piri. So the tradition keeps living and moving forward. Kavi Piri Kalmashapaham. When this message is transmitted, see, at one level, the potency of the message depends on the messenger. At another level, it doesn't. Mm. There are both examples, both sides, kind of examples are there. Sometimes the message has impact because the speaker is so pure. So, but sometimes it's like the message potency is independent of the speaker. That means that uh, when you hear that message, the person is so and sometimes we bring someone to Krishna, and after some time we feel like this person left me behind now. It could be that that person has started bhakti in a previous life also. But point is, the we don't have to worry too much about whether I'm pure or not. One of the sessions earlier I was talking about there is ability and there is availability. So for Krishna, our availability is much more important than our ability. So if we're just available to hear Krishna's message and share Krishna's message, then we are part of the oral tradition in terms of receiving and also in terms of transmitting. So kalmashapaham. People find that their impurities will be not only there, we'll find that just by speaking about Krishna, our own impurities will also start getting removed. And then
Particularly, is hearing more powerful or reading?
is hearing more powerful or reading more powerful? Well, I wouldn't say that the two can be compared. My understanding is, at least my experience, and I've talked with many devotees, in the early stages, maybe in the first 5, 10 years or so, hearing is much more powerful. Because what happens is there's one basic principle in education. mm, What we can know is actually proportional to what we know. What it means is, let's say, if somebody looks at my fingers and they say, okay, this look a little pale color. So a doctor will look at it and say, do you have anemia? So they're saying the same thing. What we can know depends on what we know. So in general, when we read books initially, unless a person is very thoughtful, it's difficult to actually get real substance from reading. So initial years, we we hear and we learn. And then once we have a good bank of knowledge inside us, then when we read, the reading stimulates thoughts for us. And stimulates thoughts, we get more and more connection, more and more absorption. So in general, I would say that hearing is much more important than reading. In general, this is not to devalue reading, but say we will see that if somebody says I'm daily reading Bhagavatam, but I never come to satsang, then it's good that you're reading Bhagavatam, no doubt. But it's important that you come to satsang also. A person will come much more spiritually alive unless this person is very philosophical, very intellectual, very analytical, where they can just through reading itself get nourishment. That's good if they get it. Best situation is if we can marry here and what that means is that we say if we are studying the Bhagavad Gita systematically, then find out some speaker who has spoken on the Bhagavad Gita systematically. Then read a verse and then hear a class on that verse. And then in general, it's what happens is our daily Bhagavatam classes or even our Bhagavad Gita classes that we have sometimes. Like, some evening class in a temple is there, okay, I'll speak on 9.31 or I'll speak on this verse. Quite often those classes or daily Bhagavatam class, let's take as example, it becomes more a class on Krishna consciousness with that verse as the starting point. It is not a class on that verse. Say, for example, if I had to give one class, full class on Jayati Dev, Janma Navraja, now then we would not be studying the Gopi Gita so much. Because we're taking 2, 3 verses, we focus on Gopi Gita. Our general temple Bhagavatam classes, the verse becomes the starting point, but from there, different speakers will go in different directions. And it's good as a class for reminder of Krishna consciousness. That class doesn't really help us go deep into the Bhagavad. I hope the difference is clear that but then if somebody are hearing say Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav, somebody is going verse by verse by verse, then we can go deeper into the Bhagavatam itself. If we can marry hearing and reading, then it's the most potent. Because not only we understand more. Say, if I read a verse and then I hear a class by some senior devotee, somebody say, I hear a word, read a verse for the Bhagavad Gita, and then some devotees are expert in the Gita. And I hear not just okay, I can hear different devotees classes on the verse, but if somebody is given systematically spoken of the Bhagavad Gita, then I hear their class. And not only what happens is that I get a deeper understanding of that verse based on that devotee's class, but it also we get we get we get inputs about how to think about that verse. Hey, I never thought this could be seen from this perspective. I never thought this could be linked with this. I never thought this has this point. So in general, we often talk about absorption. You want to be absorption. Absorption is primarily a function of connection. That means that when we are hearing the point, if we can connect that point with another point that we have heard before, or something which we remember, the more we can connect one point with other points, the more we become absorbed. If we hear something and we just can't connect with anything, and we start thinking, what's going on over here? So connection, the more we can establish connections, the more it works, the more will be absorbed. So say all three, both hearing and reading are important. But relatively speaking, the person has a choice to only one. Hearing is more important. Ideal is if you can do hearing and reading together in a systematic way. So now we went on Shravana Mangalam Srimadat. So in general, spiritual growth has two aspects to it. One is anartha nivritti. What is the other? It's called as artha pravritti. Anartha nivritti means that which is inauspicious that gets removed from the heart. That which is auspicious, we start getting attracted, we start getting propelled toward that. So kalmashapaham is about anartha nivritti. Kalmashapaham. That is that the kalmashas are removed from our that is the anartha nivritti is happening. But by here, what also happens is artha. That is Shravana Mangalam. The Mangala that comes is that not only the impure is removed, but we are attracted towards the pure. Shravana Mangalam, Shri Madad, that is filled with auspicious power. The power not just to free our heart from impurities, but the power to fill our heart with Krishna, to fill our heart with attraction for Krishna. This is the power of Krishna Katha. And if you see Prabhupada, when he went to America and he composed song Markini Bhagavad Dharma, that is the coast of America. And there in that song itself, he quotes the verse Shunvatam Sokatha Krishna. So Prabhupada's strategy when he went to America, he said, these people know nothing. They're Rajastama Gunera Sabai Achan. They're all covered by modes of passion and ignorance. How are they going to understand Krishna Katha? So how are they going to understand Krishna's message? So Prabhupada's strategy was just Krishna Katha. So भागवतेर कथा से तब ता धीर भैया शून्य जति काने बार बार. Seems over there that Bhagavad Katha is you, Krishna, is your avatar. And if anybody hears it repeatedly, Bhaiya, that person will become sober, that person will become attracted to you. So, what the gopis are describing in this verse, Prabhupada had deep the power of, and it was with that faith that Prabhupada went to America. Prabhupada had faith in Krishna, yes. In what? In Krishna manifesting as sound vibration in the form of his holy name, sound vibration in the form of his katha. And that's Srimadatattam. Prabhupada is a prime example of Vigrananti Bhuta Janaha, person who traveled across the world doing great good to the world. So this is the personal implication of this verse. And the gopis, while they're in Vrindavan, Krishna is in Vrindavan, even in Vrindavan, sages keep coming and they speak about Vishnu, they speak about Krishna. And gopis sometimes hear about themselves. As we discussed, they are eternal realized souls. They know that Krishna is Lord has spoken about constantly. So they are saying that Krishna, in your absence, it is Katha that's giving us some solace. It is giving us some solace. So and those who are speaking about Krishna, they are great souls. So in one sense, this verse doesn't contain a fervent appeal to Krishna. Krishna, come back. But the idea is Krishna. They are saying that Krishna, you know, we how your devotees, we glorify your devotees. Those saintly Buddha speak about you. So they are hoping that by glorifying Krishna, Krishna will be pleased and Krishna will come. Krishna, we value your devotee. Like it is said that love me, love my dog. That's what the idea is that it's a so say if you please Krishna's pure devotee, then Krishna will be pleased with us. So what happens is similarly, the gopis are saying that Krishna, we value, we glorify your devotees. Please be pleased with us. That's the mood over there. You can sing once and then we'll move next one. So,
शापहम् श्रीमदाततम् गृह्णन्ति ये त्रिधा जना गृह्णन्ति ये त्रिधा जना
now the gopis they are saying that Krishna, your remembrance is like nectar. But for them, sorry, your katha is like nectar. But their, what is happening is when they are hearing about Krishna, they are also longing for Krishna. Their longing for Krishna is increasing. Here, Krishna is a very real loving person. They're talking about Krishna's personal attribute. They are in the forest, Krishna was with them, Krishna was talking with them, Krishna was dancing with them, and then Krishna suddenly disappeared. So, brother, see, your gentle, sweet smile, Hasitam, prema vikshana, that your loving glance at us. Ikshanam is glance, vikshanam is more like a side glance. It's like you're talking with one person, but you're looking at someone else also. So, it's like we'll talk about when Krishna does vikshanam. Prema vikshanam. Your loving side glances. Yeah, I'm talking with you, but I'm aware of yours. Yeah, I know you're there. So, viharanam chate. Chate means that viharanam is the pastimes that Krishna performs the Rasa piece. Krishna has various pastimes with this. And so, viharanam, the intimate dealings that we had, jnana mangalam. Continuing the previous thing that Krishna, if you remember your pastimes, that is auspicious. But I think it's not auspicious for us. This is Rahasi Samvido. Rahasi in a secret, in a private place. Samvido, the conversations that we had. When Krishna speaks very endearing voice. And the books are remembering the private talks that we had. Ya is Krishna. They touched our hearts, they conquered our hearts. Kohako no manaha. Kohako refers to a cheater. Oh, cheater. How could you? You spoke such words of love. And how did you abandon us like that? Kuhako no manaha shobayan. When we think about how you spoke such loving words, and now you're no longer with us. Now you abandon us. Shobayanti. We start feeling agitated. So, what they are essentially saying is, it's like almost they are the gopis. Bhagavatam, one place has the words paratpara. There is Krishna is transcendental to transcendence. That means transcendental to the material world is Brahmajyoti. Krishna is beyond the Brahmajyoti. So Krishna is Paratpar, transcendental to transcendence. So what the gopis are saying, oh Krishna, actually your katha, speaking about you, remembering you, it is actually very pacifying. But for us, it is not pacifying. For us, it is agitating. For us, so the gopis are at such an exalted level of devotion that the same Krishna Katha, which pacifies everyone, that agitates them. Therefore, they are saying, Krishna, we can't be satisfied with Krishna Katha only. You have to come. You have. So it's in a difference in the explained Damodara Ashtakam. There's inner remembrance, but the Satyavati wants outer darshan also. So it's a similar thing, but here There it's a more of a longing. Oh Krishna, this is wonderful, but I also want that. Here the gopis are saying, yeah, this is wonderful. It's not just we want more. Just this is just not enough for us. This just doesn't work for us. For them, because they have such a personal relationship with Krishna, they- they're feeling agitated that Krishna is not present. Same katha which pacifies everyone, they're saying, yes, it is also pacifying us. But for us, it is the Krishna katha pacifies in the sense that it extinguishes material desires within us. And that's for gopis, they have no material desires. For them, Krishna katha is simply triggering their spiritual desire. And when that spiritual desire is becoming very strong, Krishna is not the point of it. So they show joy and your remembrance is actually agitating us, Krishna. You can sing this.
प्रहसितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणम् हरणं च ते ध्यानगलम् सितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणम् विहरणं च ते ध्यानमङ्गलम् सितं हृदि स्पृशा रहसि संविदो या हृदि स्पृशा कुहकनो मना शोभयन्ति कुहकनो मना शोभयन्ति सितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणम् विहरणं च ते ध्यानमङ्गलम् संविदो या हृदि स्पृशा कुहकनो मना शोभयन्ति
Now, Krishna and the gopis living in Vrindavan. While at one level, Vrindavan is centered on Krishna and pleasing Krishna. And everyone wants Shri Krishna to be united with Radharani and with the gopis. But at the same time, there are cultural constraints. It's not that Krishna and Radharani or Krishna and gopis can meet casually anytime. It's still, you could say, it's a traditional place. So when do Krishna and the gopis get to interact with each other? So it is the last Leela happens and Krishna calls the gopis, that time they come. Otherwise, before this happens, apart from this, it is every morning when Krishna goes out to herd the cows. And every evening Krishna comes. It's the time. It's Krishna is like the celebrity, the VVI. So when somebody's coming, then everyone comes to see that. Like that, what happens? All of it now comes out to see Krishna. When is Krishna coming back? And the young gopis, they can't come out of their homes. So when come out of the young gopis, they go on the terraces of their homes. And they are watching from there. And we will talk later in one of the later verses about how the gopis behold the beautiful form of Krishna at that time. But when Krishna is going out, all the gopis rush up the house, and from there they are watching. And while Krishna is herding the cows, what Krishna does is Krishna is at the back, all the cows at the front, and the cows are moving. The cows move randomly here and there. Krishna is going out, and it is, as I said, because the cultural constraints, Krishna can't just stop and glance at the gopis. It would be inappropriate. So what happens is that when a cow, while they're running, the cow instead of going out, cow runs here. Cow runs in a particular direction, Krishna catches that cow, and while he's turning in that direction, he glances at one gopi. Then he glances at another gopi. And he glances at another gopi. And like that, he blesses the various gopis with his glances. And that way, the gopis are glancing at Krishna, the Krishna is glancing at the gopis. And there is that reciprocation of love. And sometimes Krishna cannot even glance completely. So at that time, there is the kataksha, side glance, the vikshanam. That is the time that Krishna glances at the gopis. The gopis remember that glance. The gopis are waiting for that one glance of Krishna. And then, every evening when Krishna comes back with. So now Krishna and Balram are at the back. And all the gopis are there. They're watching. Because Balram is Dauji, Balram is the bigger brother. So Krishna feels a little shy to do anything in front of Balram. So what happens is when Krishna and Balram are coming back, they are, they are as they come back from a long day, they had their lunch, but they want to come back and have dinner. Suddenly Krishna starts walking very slowly. Balram says, "Come on, we have to go back. There's food waiting for us. Let's go." Krishna says, "I'm tired. I can't walk past you. Go ahead." Okay, let's come. It's short distance. So you go ahead. I'll come. And then, okay, Balram goes. And then Krishna is separated. And Krishna glances at the gopis. All the gopis that are there on the sides. So Krishna, through loving glances, reciprocates love with the gopis. Now, gopis, all the love that is in their heart is offering it to Krishna. And Krishna, through his glance, is receiving that love and is offering his love back to the gopis. So that is the time Krishna's face, the picture of Krishna is in. So the first line is talking about it. Prahasitam here, Prema Vikshanam. So the gopis, they get this daily darshan of Krishna in the morning and the evening. They also sometimes get a glance of Krishna. Side glance, a direct glance, a long glance, a short glance, they get that. And that's what it is. They get pleasure for them. It's the memories that they cherish. Now, apart from that, there are times when Krishna and the gopis meet. So Krishna is going out in the forest in the daytime, sometimes Krishna and the gopis meet. Krishna goes out to herd the cows, and the gopis go to sell butter and milk and curd. So Tatyadikam Vikretu Kama Kilago Kanya. Gopal Thakur's Govind Lamruti says that the gopis go out to sell butter and milk. So what happens at that time is they are so absorbed in remembrance of Krishna. So like in India, whenever some vendor comes, do you want apples? Do you want ice cream? Do you want this? You call out with the products. The gopis, they're so caught in Krishna, they have curd and butter and milk, but they call out Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. They don't call out the product. But in the outskirts, there people know, okay, this is what you got. That's why they're absorbed in Krishna. So, so the gopis, if you consider, use a modern terminology, the gopis are working women. The gopis are not just housewives, they go out. They have in the town also the fruit vendor. She's also going out and selling. So she's earning a living. So this idea that women should not be working, it's more a medieval idea than a traditional Vedic idea. Medieval time, Islamic rule was there. At that time, there was a lot of predation on women. And that's why the emphasis came that women should stay at home. But in the past, the way society was structured was that the Varna did not come in the way of the ashram. It's a whole big subject. That the ashram is the duty of our duty of the family, and Varna is our particular occupation. So in today's world, Varna often pulls us away from the ashram, and that's where it becomes a challenge. But if Varna and ashram, that means our job doesn't allow us to do our family responsibilities, then it becomes a problem. In the traditional society, Varna and ashram both went together. But anyway, so that is the time. Externally speaking, the gopis are going out to sell butter and milk, but internally they're looking forward when are you going to meet Krishna. So sometimes they meet Krishna, and, there are various places in Vrindavan they meet, and Krishna tries to steal butter from them. Krishna tries to take tax from them. So all these are Viharachate. That these are the pastime the gopis have had with Krishna, Leela, and then Dhyana Mangalam. Dhyana Mangalam. Very auspicious remembering this, they say. And we are remembering this. And especially, there are times when there is intimate conversations. Yeah, Rudis Pusha. There's a especially closely. If we have, if we look at Prabhupada disciples, you know, they remember Prabhupada, they love Prabhupada, even if they have had a little interaction with Prabhupada, Prabhupada is anchored to their heart. That is, if they have a personal interaction with Prabhupada, their intimate interaction. So what happens is that conquers their heart. So like that, last line says, Brahmasi Samvedo. Sometimes Krishna is alone with the gopi. At that time, he speaks words of affection, he speaks words of endearment. And those words say, those are conquering. But as all this is happening, there is simultaneous solace, remembrance of Krishna. But also, it's like, this word in English, solace, comfort, relief. So for the gopis, the soulless is soulless. It is just not enough for them. So they just want more. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described that especially for the gopis, remembrance of Krishna, or even at broad love for Krishna, Krishna Prem is like hot sugarcane juice. You know this example? It's sugarcane juice, so it's tasty. Keep drinking it. It's so hot that you can't drink it. So another metaphor that is given is it's like we may say, how can nectar be bitter? Nectar is sweet, generally speaking. So actually, remembrance of Krishna is like nectar, and then said it's sweet. Separation from Krishna is bitter. So remembrance remembrance of Krishna and separation is like bitter nectar. It's always nectar. In material world, sometimes there is pleasure also. Anything in separation from Krishna is like poison. So we could say there is remembrance of Krishna, there is forgetfulness of Krishna. These are different levels. So now, in the remembrance of Krishna is broadly like nectar, and forgetfulness of Krishna is like poison. Now, within that foundation of nectar, there are ups and downs. So what that means is like there's a values of devotion. So when there is union with Krishna, it's like sweet nectar. When there is separation from Krishna, it's like bitter nectar. Now within the poison of mental existence also, there are ups and downs. There is pleasure here also. You could say that is like sweet poison. And so the pleasure in this world is like sweet poison. And the distress in this world is like bitter poison. Now, why would we call it sweet poison? Because sometimes the pleasure in the world is what keeps us in the world. And in that sense, even the poison is bitter, we'll stop. When we get some distress, okay, enough now. I want to turn toward Krishna. But when there is pleasure, what happens is I want it more. So in that sense, it's like sweet poison. So sweet poison is probably the most dangerous poison. So these are experiencing nectar. That's why they show Bayan. Show Bayan. They're agitated. Now, this theme of Kuhaka, that cheater, will come again in the future words. And we'll talk about that particular theme at that time. Should we stop here? One more verse. Okay, let's sing this a couple of times and then we'll go to the next verse.
Rahasitam priya prema viksha priya prema viksha jate sing samveda ya priti sprisha vakano mana shobhayanti rahasitam priya viksha viharanam jate ya priti sprisha vakano mana shobhayanti
Now, as the book is remembering Krishna's face and the time when they glance that face. So now their mind is going back to morning time when they see Krishna. So Chalasi Yat Braja Chalasi. When you go to Braja, Charayan Pashun. Graze the animals, graze the cows. Nalina Sundar, Nalina lotus. That your lotus, your feet are not Devatama, master your lotus feet. Their feet are like lotus. And then they're thinking, Shila Trunam Kure, Sindati Tina. That we think that these lotus feet are being pierced by the thorns, the of the Vrindavan. Then what's happening? See the piercing it. Thinking of that, Kalilatam Manaha. The mind is becoming immensely agitated. We're thinking that your feet are being pierced by those. It's like our heart is being pierced. Our heart is being ripped apart. And then their mind is coming to the present. And at least in the daytime, Krishna can see where the thorns are went. But this is night time. Krishna has gone away. The thorns will be piercing Krishna now. And the agitation is even more calm. Gachati. Gachati means on one side, you go to the forest, and our mind goes in a state of agitation. And that's what does now. So the idea is Krishna, our mind is so agitated because we are worried that your legs might be injured, your feet might be injured. So Krishna, please come back. Please come back so that our minds will be pacified. Please come back so that we can nurse your lotus feet. So that no longer any wounds and injuries on your lotus feet. Krishna, please come back.
Jalasi agraja pashur Jalasi pashur sundaram nate padam Jalasi agraja charayan pashur Jalasi pashur Nalina sundaram ते पदम् शिलतृणा सीदति विना शिलतृणा सीदति विना कलिलतां मना कान्तगच्छति कलिलतां मना कान्तगच्छति जलसि चारयन् पशु नलिनसुन्दरं ते पदम् शिलकृता सीदति विना कलिलतां न कान्तगच्छति
The nature of love is that we don't want even the slightest pain or distress or inconvenience for our beloved. Now, in the same Gopi Gita, the gopis has spoken earlier about the glories of Krishna's lotus feet. And they have also said that Fani Fanarpitam Te Padam Bojam. Now we know that Krishna is so powerful. Krishna has danced on the hoods of Kaliya. Now Kaliya's fangs are more dangerous than thorns or weapons in Vrindavan. Thorns can just cause a scratch. The fangs can kill. And Krishna has not only survived that, Krishna has subdued Kaliya thoroughly. They know that Krishna is that powerful, but still they hear of their love. Krishna is that powerful. Krishna's lotus feet are so tender, so soft. Oh, they'll get hurt. They should not get hurt. Sometimes what happens is when we are serving God, it's always important for us to see things in a way that preserves or enhances our service. I was with one devotee at one time, and he was a new devotee. He was serving his spiritual master. So his spiritual master and I, we were working together. And one, I was editing a book for him. This devotee was serving the spiritual master. So his spiritual master had some backache or something like that. So he said, "Please get some medicine." And so I asked him, I just asked him if he got the medicine. He said, I told one devotee will get it. He says, "It's urgent. Why is it pain?" He says, "No, Marg is transcendental. He will not be feeling anything." I said that for you, you should not be thinking how best you can serve. At that time, when we have an opportunity to serve, no, his advanced soul is transcendental to the body. So that doesn't mean we don't care for the body. We should be thinking that actually this body is also being used for Krishna's service. So if I have an opportunity to serve, let me serve as carefully as possible. So sometimes we can take spiritual philosophy or spiritual knowledge in a way that actually reaches our service attitude. If we are serving some devotee and the devotee's got some terrible sickness, I used to think that you are such a great devotee. You got such terrible sickness, terrible karma you must have done in the past. Yes. That is not the way we should be thinking. We should always be, because philosophy is one sense valuable. whichever point of whichever we can apply different points of philosophy at different times. Which point is to be applied when? That is important. And how do we decide which point is to be applied when? It is based on what enhances our service attitude. So if somebody is suffering, at that time, it is not for us to think what is their karma. It is for us to think what is my karma.
Very good.
It is. If when somebody is suffering, we start thinking always in terms of their karma, we become very hard-hearted. And then where are we going to stop in that? If tomorrow a family member is sick, say it's your karma. Okay, if we have a newborn baby and the baby is crying, it's the baby's karma to cry. No, we become completely hard-hearted, isn't it? So our focus should always be on our karma. And we need to have a vision. We draw from philosophy points that enhance our service attitude. So the gopis are demonstrating that service attitude over here. That now they can think, oh, Krishna has survived the fangs of Kali also. What is the problem? These thorns and this thing. We are here to serve Krishna. We are here to please Krishna. And Krishna's people, they're so hurt by these thoughts. So that concern for Krishna is a sign of their love. So Krishna is transcendental, no doubt. But the transcendental Lord makes himself accessible to us. And sorry, yes, Prabhu?
I just want to interrupt you. Sorry.
Yes.
So you said that,
I'm
because
transcendental, I'm accessible. Not really transcendental. Anyway, go ahead.
just to connect, just to the point you're mentioning now. So the gopis think that Krishna is not God. So that's why they think like that. But Krishna is God. It is so powerful. So nothing can, harm in him. So in that situation, can we get that feeling?
See, even though gopis, we say the gopis, they, in one sense, they also know that Krishna is God. Like we discussed earlier, that Aishwarya is used in the service of Madhuri. That whenever they can use Krishna's divinity to increase the fervency of their call for Krishna, then they will use that. Like Krishna, you have descended to the world that it was the Kanu Gopika Nandano Bhavan. That you have descended in this world to relieve the world of distress. We are a part of this world, so why are you not relieving our distress? So like that. So they know Krishna's divinity. That's the separate point. Now for us, can we get that feeling? Well, the whole point of bhakti is at one level, we create awareness that Krishna is God, Krishna is great. But at another level, for example, Krishna comes as the deity. Mhm. Krishna can do everything. But then the deity, we bathe the deity, we clothe the deity. Can Krishna not bathe and clothe himself? Who are the people who can't bathe and clothe themselves? Either they are small babies or they are like senile people. So is deity like that? No. It is Krishna who is giving us an opportunity to serve. So Krishna can do everything for himself. He can do everything for us also. But that infinite Lord becomes finite. That omnipotent Lord becomes seemingly important. He's never important. He's always omnipotent. But he seems to become important so that we have an opportunity to serve. And so we should be thinking that I am here to serve. Giriraj Maharaj wrote a book about the Juhu temple, and he's called it, I mean, I'll build your temple. So Prabhupada considered it his promise to Krishna that I'll build your temple. I have invited you to come and stay here in this wilderness, in this tent. Prabhupada considered it his personal responsibility. So yes, as Krishna, that we should feel that yes, Krishna is omnipotent, but Krishna wants me to serve him. Krishna wants me to do something for him. So in that sense, is Krishna, can we think that Krishna is in distress? Well, yes and no. No, in the sense that Krishna is always happy with his gopis. with his pure devotees in the spiritual world. But at the same time, Krishna is also present in the hearts of all living beings. And when people are suffering in this world, Krishna is in distress. Krishna is not suffering like them. Krishna also is suffering because he likes them. Two different things. Krishna is not in the material existence, he's suffering. But Krishna is suffering because, not can't use the word suffering for Krishna, but Krishna is also in distress because the souls who are his part, the souls that he loves, they are in distress. And he doesn't want them to be in distress. So in the 17th chapter, somebody performs very severe austerities, tamasic austerities. So Krishna says about Karshayanta Sharirastham Pamchaiva. Krishna says that they are tormenting their body and thereby they are tormenting me also. If somebody is performing pointless austerities, like say austerity like Hiranyakashipu or somebody performing, no ultimate benefit is there in that. If somebody is torturing their body, then Krishna is they are torturing me also because I feel tortured to see some when we love someone, when we see that person suffering, we also suffer with that, isn't it? So is that Krishna is both completely like impassive to our suffering in the sense that he's transcendental, but Krishna is also distressed by our distress. Krishna doesn't want to be in a distress. So we should think that say, when we are going out and distributing books or we are sharing Krishna's message, we are trying to relieve not just those people of distress, we're also trying to decrease Krishna's distress. That Krishna is in distress because his children, his souls are lost. But now Krishna, because he's God, he is omnipotent. That means he can have multiple emotions at the same time. It's not that because Krishna is in distress, so the gopis want him to perform Rasleela. Krishna is in distress. I am in bad mood. I can't perform Rasleela. Krishna can be with the gopis, fully available to them, ecstatically reciprocal love with them. And Krishna can also be in our hearts. And seeing our distress, Krishna is also concerned. So this is the point I was completing with this. So the gopis, we need to see philosophy in a way that is favorable for our service attitude. And the gopis are demonstrating that at the highest level. Although Krishna is completely unhurt by anything material, but the gopis are concerned for Krishna. And so concerned that they say, Krishna, please return. Please return so that we can nurse your lotus feet, so that by nursing your lotus feet, our hearts wounded to the thought that your feet are better, hearts will also be nursed. So it is for whichever thing, it's for our sake you return, Krishna, or your sake you return. Krishna will come. Let's decide this once and then we will stop.
Jalasi adraja pasho padam Sita Tamana Gachati Jalasi adraja pasho Nalina sundaram padam Shilapure Sita Tina Kalila Tamana Gachati
Shri Gopi Geet ki, Krishna Bhagwan ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. By Gaur Premanand. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, that's nice. Continue to go to the mission. We know the recall. It is to see the whole whole every day for because your talk has made it possible. We are also attracted to come and hear the next verse. Right? So this thing, there's no alarm clock needed. So tomorrow the class is in my home Ankura.